Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. Today I'm going to continue my discussion about Farrakhan, Yvette Carnell, and the whole issue of retaliation and armed struggle. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this subject matter, I'm going to post a video clip of Farrakhan making some controversial statements, and then I'm going to provide my commentary on the other side.
Death is sweeter than to continue to live and bury our children while white folks give the killer hamburgers. Death is sweeter than watching us slaughter each other to the joy of a 400-year-old enemy. Death is sweeter. The Quran teaches persecution is worse than slaughter. Then it says retaliation is prescribed in matters of the slain. Retaliation is a prescription from God to calm the breath of those whose children have been slain. So if the federal government will not intercede in our affairs, then we must rise up and kill those who kill us. Stop them and kill them and let them feel the pain of death that we are feeling.
So you saw Farrakhan's controversial statement. You know, he's calling on 10,000 black men to stand up. He's calling on 10,000 black men to be willing and able to commit acts of retaliation against police brutality and other acts of racist violence. Now, in response to this call for action, Yvette Carnell said, "I will not follow anyone into battle who is not sending their own soldiers." Basically, she's saying that Farrakhan has the Nation of Islam. And within the Nation of Islam, there's a paramilitary wing called the Fruit of Islam. It's an all-male wing of the Nation of Islam that is capable of committing acts of retaliation if they wanted to. And her point was simple. If Farrakhan was really about retaliation, he could have easily ordered the FOI to engage in acts of retaliation. But instead of doing so, he makes a general call to the public for 10,000 men to step up and take the action. So I see her point. And in response to that powerful point, Boyce Watkins had a member of the Nation of Islam on his channel responding to Yvette Carnell. And here are a couple of clips.
We have to start to rethink this situation first and foremost. She talked about the possibility of physical retaliation and acted as if or demonstrated that it was impossible. I mean, I reject that notion also. It's not impossible to physically retaliate against a larger army and be successful. History is littered with stories of people with smaller armies and less weapons and no weapons who have successfully had revolutions all over the world. In Eritrea, for example, they had a revolution with 4 million people that beat a conquering army of 60 million. Fidel Castro and Che Guevara launched their revolution with a mere 80 soldiers, traveling on the Grama from Mexico into Cuba. And with 80 soldiers, they had a revolution that was successful. So we reject the fact that with 10,000, we don't have the capacity to actually fight and die and kill and win a battle for our people.
Okay, so I'm going to start off my response to his statement by just pointing out to people who are not familiar with the Nation of Islam a simple fact. And that is this: the Nation of Islam is not about to retaliate against anyone. And I'm going to explain to you why I say that. First of all, Elijah Muhammad opposed such action. And for those of you who don't know, Elijah Muhammad was the spiritual leader of the Nation of Islam. He was Farrakhan's teacher. Members of the Nation of Islam believe that Elijah Muhammad is the messenger of God. They view him as a model. They view him as their leader. Elijah Muhammad is the man that Farrakhan claims to follow. Elijah Muhammad, again, opposed armed struggle. And instead of me just telling you this, I'm going to play a few excerpts from one of Elijah Muhammad's speeches.
And I never have taught you to arm, and you are most successful without arm and those with arm, right? Not even Martin Luther was too wise to tell his followers to arm themselves, because he knows the devil would kill them. Because the devil have all the arms. You've got to have a lot of arms to make a stand against him. Because if you outshoot him with rifles in this neighborhood, he'll go rope it off. He'll go and isolate this neighborhood. Then he'll get in his plane and come over and drop a little bomb on you. Understand? Or he'll sit out there and take one of his field pieces and throw some shells over you. You can't do nothing. You can't throw them back at him. Or he'll come and just strafe you, with machine gun fire. Go up and down the street with his, with his plane just sliding low. You don't have one. Just strafe you all up and down the street. The hell are you to come out, and then after a while you crowd for some food. He the only one selling you food. You don't have no food stored away. Now how in the world you gonna find out people like that? When they feed, you got to eat their food. You got to wear their clothes. You got to, stay under their shelter. How can you fight them with their arms?
Okay, so there you have it. You have the leader of the nation, one of the founders of the Nation of Islam, clearly pointing out how the Nation of Islam opposes armed struggle. And if I'm not mistaken, Farrakhan has given similar speeches echoing the same sentiment. Not only that, not only has the leader of the Nation of Islam, condemned the idea of African Americans engaging in an armed struggle against the state, the Nation of Islam has no track record of retaliation. Even in the face of brutality. And that was one of the points that the young man made on Boyce Watkins' channel.
Before we get off, one is that Sister Yvette took a number of pot shots at Minister Farrakhan, right? She said things like, you go and put yourself on the front line. What have you done for black people, etc., right? And I want to clarify, just for the record, Minister Farrakhan has the longest standing record of protecting and defending and fighting on behalf of black people. And quite frankly, the Nation of Islam has withstood and stood up longer than hardly any other organization that we have had, and has been consistently on the front lines. And not just on the front lines, but the Nation of Islam has had multiple interactions with the state that have been violent and non-violent. And in many of those interactions, we came out successful.
Basically said, well, the Nation of Islam stands up to the police, that the Nation of Islam has a history of being on the front lines dealing with police brutality. When the fact of the matter is, when the Nation of Islam was attacked in Los Angeles during the 1960s. One member was killed, another member was paralyzed, and several others were shot by the police. When that happened, the Nation of Islam did nothing in retaliation. See, Malcolm X called on the Fruit of Islam to take action. He gathered them and he called for retaliation for these acts of violence that were committed against the nation. But the leader of the nation, the man that Farrakhan believes is a messenger of God, that man stopped the effort to retaliate. That man basically told Malcolm X to stand down. He told the FOI to stand down. The Nation of Islam does not have a record of retaliating against the police or against white racists, period. So it is clear that they do not intend to retaliate. And instead of me just going on and on telling you my opinion, let's listen to what Malcolm X had to say about this issue.
When a Muslim is attacked, and you'll find this to be the pattern, when the Muslims were attacked in Monroe, Louisiana, Elijah Muhammad gave no signal to anybody across the nation to come to the defense of their brothers. When our brothers were attacked in Los Angeles, again Elijah Muhammad gave no signal to anybody to come to the defense of those brothers. Never have the Muslims anywhere in the country gotten any kind of instruction from the national office or headquarters on how to defend themselves when they are attacked by outsiders. The only times the Muslims have ever been given any instructions to commit violence is when that violence is directed against a fellow Muslim. His followers are violent against Negroes.
Against Negroes?
Yes, his followers will go out and attack another Negro, like they will attack me, or they will brutalize a fellow Muslim who breaks the law. But you don't find those same followers going out and becoming involved in the Negro struggle in any way whatsoever. Now, the violence that he accuses me of is my tendency to want to participate in the struggle of the Negro at all levels. This is what he calls violence.
They're not about to retaliate against the police. They're not about to retaliate against white racists. They are not going to retaliate against anyone. If they were really about retaliation, they would have retaliated against those police in Los Angeles decades ago. If they were really about retaliation, they would have retaliated against George Zimmerman, who's walking around free as a bird, who's basically been turned into a celebrity. You know, he's signing autographs. If they were really about their life, he wouldn't be breathing right now. If they were really about their life, Darren Wilson wouldn't be walking around here doing interviews in magazines. So they're not about their life. And if they're not about their life, why should anybody take heed to Farrakhan's call for retaliation? Again, as Yvette Carnell said, I will not follow anyone into battle who is not sending their own soldiers. It is irresponsible to encourage people to engage in acts that you are unwilling to engage in yourself. Yvette Carnell made another point that I will reiterate, and that's this. When those soldiers step up to take action, where will the nation be? Will they bail them out of jail? When they're killed by the police, will the nation be there for the families?